Do you have a personality type you would like us to be?
I think these people were more of a little bit on the amiable side.
Okay.
To give you a little quick thing, I was like, dang, I didn't prepare for this. What am I gonna do?
Okay, so Faith is
my
joining us
prospect.
now.
And
then,
so I fed off the prospecting. And then, hey, Faith.
Hi, sorry,
Hi.
everybody.
That's all right. You're fine. Just don't let it happen again, okay?
Okay, coach.
No, I'm only kidding. But anyway, so I said, oh, man, I got to prepare for this. I forgot. So I said, let me prospect. Whatever I come up with, I'm going to kind of feed off of that. So I prospected a similar land of what I have. I don't necessarily go after commercial, but I do commercial. This is more, it's used as residence with a commercial overtone to it. It is commercial. So just to give you an idea of the property, it's 180 acres.
Mm-hmm.
There's an irrigation canal that comes in, and it feeds off a lake. And there's no access to the lake other than a small community on the other side of the lake. And it's not open to the public. So
Okay.
this land is very private. You don't know what's there. It's in the middle of the heart of Florida, which is Central Florida. It's right there, but you don't see it because it's well hidden. And so when you go on the property, you go over the railroad track. So it's not high-end development because of the railroad tracks, but it has a lot of great connotations to it. So when you go through the property, there is a mobile home park on it, and it's on a canal, and and people there are they're all fish. The people like the fish. It's called Fletcher Fish Camp. And when you go further down the property towards the lake on a winding dirt road, you see a lot of nature there. You see birds, and there's where the house is, it's 200 feet from the canal, so the gators come right up. Called bubbles. He's 17 foot long. And then there's a couple of families of raccoons. It's really nature, and that's why they love it. Okay, so we use Hector and Anne Marie. So we'll use you guys both. So
this is our primary residence.
Yeah, so they have a home there, and on the 180 acres, you have a maintenance building, you have a little office building, you have orange groves as well too, and just a little history. These people owned another fish camp before that. They bought it and built it up to 250 units, okay? And then they sold it. And before that, they owned the air conditioning company. They grew pretty big in another state in Ohio. And now they bought, they've owned another 50 duplexes somewhere else they developed. Now they're here, and they've been maintaining it. And they've developed it a little bit with the mobile home park, but there's so many things you could do with it, but they're at a point where they don't want to maintain it anymore. It's too big, okay? And they want to travel. They've done it all. They kept it private because they like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they want to sell it. And they had it with another agent before, and it expired. And, that agent had bought and sold them property through the years, but the guy's like 90-something years old.
Oh, wow. Time to move on.
I mean, he was a very successful agent, did him very well, but he's not really, and he's not active. I mean, he's an active agent. He always will be, but he's not doing anything at 90. So that's where I came along. Prospecting, I picked him up. Okay, so I got the appointment. Let me go ahead and share. You guys got the CMA?
Yes.
Okay, I covered a pretty wide area, by the way. And there's just nothing that I could find at the moment without doing some really deep research that even came close to selling at 180 acres. These are 9 parcels, and we were actually only going to sell a couple. Now we're selling all 9. Okay? Any questions?
So the only objection then is the commission?
That was it. That was it. I mean, I came in, if you see the CMA, I'll go through the CMA, but we ended up listing it at $2.9 million. And we worked on the commit, and then we did the commission. So the issue was the commission.
Okay.
Everything went actually pretty good, but I have another one just like it. And this guy he lives on the property. We're talking about 100 acres. There's a peach grove on it. There's other nice things on it. He lives on the property. And I'm going to get the listing. He's had about 30 agents call him. But his biggest issue is commission.
You know,
Commission.
I have the telephone number here of D.R. Horton. I don't know if you have ever talked to them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. D.R. Horton. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I talk to everybody. D.R. Horton. Yeah. Yeah. And the issue with the residential development for this particular property, I do have a buyer right now. They're out of North Carolina. It's another agent. They're a nonprofit, but they're going to build a resort there. They're looking at RV resort and all kinds of other things, plus a school, because they have like homeless and stuff like that. They do agricultural stuff and they go through school. So it's not like just a little homeless camp. They actually do rehab and all kinds of stuff.
So you're really not thinking about your traditional builder, but you're thinking about another buyer.
No, I've hit the traditional builders because that's what's hot, as we know. But because the railroad tracks are like a no-no with residential. And that's, that's where we're at. But so that was the first place I hit. I mean, I'm hitting everybody, including nudist resorts. And they're the
That's a good idea.
So if you see me with all these nudist groups, I'm not a nudist kind of guy.
Sure
But
about
it's
that?
Yeah, if you go on Facebook, you tag those groups that are interested in those like-kind properties that may be interested in development. Anyways,
Okay.
that's where we're at.
So sorry, Bob, one last question. So this, the 217 Fletcher, is that our comp or is that our house?
No, that is your property address. Yes.
Okay. So,
Okay.
so there are no comps, right? Or did I link?
No, I'm going to get the.
Oh, here it is. Sorry. It's in the CMA. Okay. Sorry. I didn't see the attachment. I just went to the link. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys do have the CMA in front of you then? Okay.
And we're doing this like virtual, or is it a?
No. I'm actually. All right. So here's the scenario. I'm going to call and confirm the appointment, and you're just going to say, yeah.
We're on.
And then when I'm going to meet you at the entrance of the property. You pick me up in a golf cart, and give me a tour of the property. Okay. And we meet at the house on a screened-in porch, and it's pretty shady there. And you bring some lemonade.
Okay.
That's how. And I sit we do our little social distancing around the round patio table on the screen porch, and all around us is canal, a lake, and an island, and it's nature at its best.
Okay. Terrific.
All right. So we'll take it from there. Oh, okay.
You already have this listing, correct?
Yeah, this listing I have.
So we have no problem putting it on. We don't have a problem putting it on the web.
Oh no, it's listed.
Okay, good.
I sent you the link, the MLS link, and I also sent you. I had a drone flying over the canal and the lake. It's pretty cool.
Okay, perfect.
Property from the air. The only thing you don't see is residents, because they're private people. They just don't they don't want to be found.
Okay.
They live off the grid. So, yeah. So let's go ahead. I'll call and confirm. Ring, ring.
Okay, hello.
Hey, Hector, it's Bob Armstrong. How are you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what's up?
Hey, Hector, just confirming our appointment today.
Yes. Yes, we're on.
Okay, awesome. Hector, I know I asked you before, but just one more quick question before I show up. Do you have any questions pertaining to any material I brought over?
Well, obviously the commission is a big issue for us.
Okay, excellent. So commission, okay, beautiful. And you had that material with you?
Yes, I did get the material that you sent us.
Okay, excellent. And now is your wife, Anne Marie, going to be there as well?
Does she has to?
Yeah, well, it'd be very important. It's a big decision, so it's going to take the both of you.
Yes, I'll make sure that she's here.
Excellent. And I look forward to seeing you at 4. And just to remind you, our meeting's only going to take about 20-25 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, excellent. So now I show up on the property, I drive up, and you tell me to park my car here, and you're going to take me into the golf cart and give me a tour. Okay?
Okay.
So we take a tour of the property, and we end up back at the house, and we'll walking through the house has got a gate around it, keep the gators out.
Uh-huh.
And we walk onto the property. We're in the screen porch, and Anne Marie brings out the lemonade, and we're all having lemonade and talking. Okay.
Perfect.
Hector, Anne Marie, Hector, beautiful property. I couldn't believe it. I mean,
Thank you.
you know, Anne Marie, it's unbelievable. Thanks for the lemonade. I really appreciate it.
It's from the lemon tree.
Yeah,
It's our own lemon
orange
tree.
trees. You got everything on there.
Yeah, orange grove, alligators, a lot of alligators.
You know, I live 20 minutes from here, and I know every neighborhood in every road. And somehow you guys managed to hide 180 acres from me.
That's
was
the
just
purpose.
Incredible.
Yeah, we like
It's
our
so
privacy.
funny. Yeah, I see that. That's great. So, anyways, I just had a few questions I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
And number one, you guys absolutely have to sell this home?
Well, not really. We don't have to, but we would like to.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't have to. And number two, do you want to price this property to sell, or do you want to keep it on the market for a long period of time?
What do you say about that, Emery?
Well, we don't want to give it away. We've been here for a long time. We've really developed everything. But, you know, it's time for us to give this to someone else and move on and travel. But
Okay.
it has to be worth it for us. You know,
Right.
like Hector said, we don't have to move, but we feel like now's a good time to sell real estate. We have developed over our lifetime. So we kind of feel like this is towards the top of the market. But again, we're not going to give it away.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Now, so let me ask you this. Do you guys want me to handle the sale for you?
Well, we will see. You know, what do you've got
Okay.
to offer? What makes you different?
Well, okay. Well, that's a great question. So just to let you guys know, at the end of this presentation today, you guys will, you know, Anne Marie and Hector, you will have the opportunity to list this property with me. Or two, you decide not to list this property with me. Or three, I may decide not to take your listing, but I just want to let you know that any one of those is fine.
And why would you not take our listing?
This is a big listing, Bob.
Yeah.
It is a big listing, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's going to require a lot of investment financially and a lot of labor to market this unique property.
Okay.
And I don't feel as though we can agree on the price in terms. It would not be, you know, it would not be a wise decision for me to move forward if I didn't think we could sell it, you know, under those conditions. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
But don't get me wrong, I am excited about this property. It's
Okay.
awesome, and I'm excited to get. I would love to get this listing, but let's just quickly take a moment and review the questions I asked you over the phone. Now, you said you guys wanted to sell this because you wanted to travel. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. And you said because this property was just a lot of labor for you.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I mean, we've been handling it for a while now, but we're just kind of tired of it. You know, it's a lot of work. So.
You're gonna miss it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I can understand why. Yeah. And you said there was no time frame, but the sooner the better is what you spun,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
excellent. And you said you wanted to price your home at your property at 3.2.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And you said you didn't owe anything on it. Is that right?
Correct. It's free and clear.
Wow. That's incredible. That's awesome. Good for you. That's great. So now with all that equity, would you help finance the property for the buyer, or do you want all your money out?
No, we want our money back. You know, we've done that before, whole paper, and it's not worth it.
Okay. It's not worth it. Okay. Note of that. Okay. And now there's only two issues we have to look at today, Anne Marie, Hector. And that's number one, the price we set on your property, and two, the motivation that you have to sell this property.
Okay.
Now, I prepared what we call a comparative market analysis.
Mhm.
CMA, just for short.
Mhm.
There are two parts to this research. One we call Fantasyland, jokingly. That's where a lot of agents, a lot of for sale by owners, because they're emotionally attached to the property, try to sell the property for. Okay.
Mhm.
And two we call reality. And that's where professional, experienced real estate agents like myself
Mhm.
list and sell properties for. And we're going to have to decide today where we're going to spend our time. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bob, have you sold a $3 million property before?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Okay.
Right now, I'm glad you brought that up. If you looked in my pre-listing packet,
Mhm.
the highest one that I do have right now is 800,000. Okay.
Okay.
And that's a 3-story home on 20 acres. And
Mhm.
20 acres next door to him, I just sold for 150,000. Okay.
Okay.
And this is in Lake Wales, which is about 20 to 30 minute drive south of here. South.
Okay.
Okay.
So how long do you think
And,
it's going to take to sell this house, this property?
Well, the average days on, with vacant, I'm glad you brought that up, Hector. If it was just a regular house for 300,000, we'd be looking at 30 days. Okay. Now, when it comes to vacant land, it can take up to a year. Well, because this particular property is in one of the hottest markets in Florida, okay, and is zoned agricultural residential, meaning it can be used for a residential development, which
Mhm.
is the hottest ticket for vacant land. I think we can get this done under 6 months, maybe even sooner. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that's kind of the time frame we're looking at. Looking at this market analysis here.
So you're way under 3 million.
Well, let's figure out. I'm glad you brought that up, Anne Marie. Now, there's a lot of science to this, but then at the end of the day, not every we're not comparing apples to apples when it comes to vacant land.
Right.
We're looking at other vacant land. How many vacant lands are there with a quarter mile lake frontage and a half-mile, irrigation canal and orange groves and mobile home park and a little island and this and that and the other? Very unique property. So we're just going to kind of break it down and see where Bob came up with those numbers. Is that okay?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, excellent. Okay, as you can see, you're right, Anne Marie. I came with 2,460,000. Okay.
Mhm.
And just kind of, did you guys take a look at this by any chance? Did you scroll through this, Hector?
Yes. Yes, I went through
Anne-Marie?
it and I looked at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, no problem. Go
There's
ahead.
not, like you said, there's not a lot. I mean, you've got 4 active and they're, in $1 million. I mean, this is a significant piece of property with our house on it.
Correct.
So
And
if we,
the
just
value of
curious,
this.
if we
Go
were
ahead.
to develop the land, how many lots can you get out of this property?
So out of 90 acres, that's about 90 to 98 acres is what can be developed. And and some of these parts of these acreage, I would say half of the acreage, okay, your density right now is 1 house per acre on half of it, okay? The other half of the property that can be developed is 1 per 5 acres. However, that's where it's currently zoned at, okay? However, whoever comes in here to develop this property is going to approach the county and ask to have some mitigation done where they can get a higher density. Okay. If I had to guess, and I'm just because we can't approach the county at this point, would be probably for about maybe at the highest amount would probably be 4 houses per acre on what can be developed.
4 houses per acre.
4 houses per acre, because you're looking at 0.20 of a lot. Okay. And that'd be the best case scenario, to be honest with you. And part of that property is going to be dedicated to a road frontage. Okay. But depends on who the buyer is, what their goals are, and what kind of development they see. I know similar developments that have property like this with the canal and the lake frontage, and those are usually higher end homes.
Okay.
Mhm.
But because of the railroad out front, that may hinder the higher end developers. Okay. All right. That may hinder that. They don't like the railroad
Mhm.
here because, you know, there's nobody back here. But for the other developers, I'm not sure where they're going to go with that. Okay. But developers, the reason I'm saying that, number one developer is going to be residential. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe, and there are other developers will be approaching. Right now, that's my number one. That would be my number one target because that's what's hot right now.
Okay.
All the builders are selling out. Everything they build, they're selling out. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Excellent. So you guys can see that at the average price per acre sold was $24,000 per acre. Okay.
Mhm.
And we're at 98 acres. So when we're looking at 20, 40 acres, when you start to get bigger acreage, usually the price per acre drops. So
Mhm.
unfortunately, there's nothing above 50 acres right now that has sold within the last couple of years within the county area of like kind property. So we're kind of going off the smaller properties at the moment. Okay.
Mhm.
And you can see that I'm giving you about $1,000 per acre of 92 acres of wetland, and that's where we get from 2,352,000 to 244,000. Okay. Do you, when you look, let's look at the properties that have sold real quick. You see the one that's been on the market for 127 days? Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry. That's mine. Oh yeah, no. This is your property. This is the one that expired. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
You see how many days on the market it was?
127.
127 days. Okay. And you see the price that we set on the property?
2.3.
2,350,000. Okay. And that was the 98 acres of land that you were selling before you added the 92 other acres in.
Right.
98.8 acres. All right. And you can see it didn't sell. It's been on the market for 127 days and hasn't sold. Now that's 3 months.
Mhm.
Okay. Now
I think that's not long enough.
correct. I'm with you on that. That was kind of short. 127 days. It was kind of short.
Mhm.
If you look at this one, you can see this zero. You see the name of the street, Zero Experiment Station Road.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not far from your property. This is in
Mhm.
the city. See how many days on the market that property was?
No, I don't.
No, I don't see that. I see that
Okay,
it was
right here, top right-hand
490,000.
corner. Yeah, top right-hand corner.
Oh, I'm looking at the summary. It's not on the summary. I have to go to the actual.
Yeah, you have to go to the actual.
Okay. 479.
Yeah, 479 days.
Wow. Well, that's
Okay.
close to the railroad tracks too.
Exactly. Yep, you're absolutely correct. Yep.
And what is that zoned?
How many acres right there? If you look down to
24 acres.
That's correct. Okay, so that property seems to be a little bit overpriced, and I can tell you right now why that didn't sell. Okay, I mean it did sell. I apologize. It did sell. Okay, but it took 479 days.
It's a year and a half.
Yeah, you're absolutely.
What's the zoning on that?
The zoning is agricultural residential as well too.
Okay.
Called ARR. Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be all of our comps are the same?
Yeah,
Agriculture?
all your comps are pretty close to the same. They're all agricultural.
Okay.
So, and obviously, just like you guys have the orange groves. You guys have a lot of trees,
Mm-hmm.
and that lake frontage. I know for tax purposes. I look up your taxes. It's agricultural. You pay next to nothing in taxes.
Yeah.
And obviously, none of these properties are developed because they're paying very high taxes. So that's kind of where the basis is. I started off of there, and that's where I came up with the 2,400,000. Would you guys go ahead and list that property today at 2,400,000?
Hmm. So what is your commission on, 2.4? I mean, we're thinking more like 3.2. 3.2.
All right, okay, so the commission that we put on your property is actually 6% on the first 2 million. Okay, I mean, I'm sorry, on the first million, and then it's 4% for every million after that.
Okay.
Okay.
Why is that? Why are you doing it that way?
And that's a great question. The reason is because for the $1 million worth of vacant land and $3 million worth of vacant land is not too far off for this type of property as far as work-wise. So I'm able to do what we call a variable commission. Okay. So in the first million, it's 6%, then it's 4% for every everything after that. Because our initial investment into your property and getting it sold is where that is where that 6% comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead right now and put me to work right away. Go ahead and sign the contract so I can get started right now, right away. Let's go ahead and sign the contract.
How long is the listing agreement for?
1 year.
1 year. Okay.
1 year.
And what happens if we see that you're not doing anything for a year? I mean, for 3, 4, 4, 5 months?
I'm glad you brought that up, Hector. Let's do this. And this is one of the things that I suggest about all my customers. Okay. First of all, if we're gonna review the work that I put in after 3 months. But after 6 months, if you're not happy, you're like, Bob, you're just not doing what it takes to get our property sold, we'll go ahead and just cancel the listing agreement right away. Okay, but my company policy on commercial and vacant land is 1 year. Okay, and your property is not going to take 3 months to sell. It's going to take a little bit longer than that, especially once it goes into environmental studies. There's going to be due diligence with the county. There'll be, land developers and engineers coming out to visit the property. So it's not a very short process.
So how long do you think it's going to take to get an LOI?
Well, probably, as soon as you sign that agreement, I'm going to be searching for that LOI. I'm going to be on the phone. As you look at my marketing plan, I'm going to be prospecting the top 25 buyers agents in the area that have sold property like this. I'm even going to be calling up other listing agents that have sold property like this. They may know of buyers that didn't buy their property, but may be interested in the property that we have.
Okay.
And then right now I need to get the photographer that's going to come aboard, right, and take all the professional photography and have drone footage put up there, and that's our first start. Then the second start is me contacting everybody I know that's interested in this property to get them over here right away.
Well, I think that, Maria, I think that he has a game plan, and I think that makes a lot of sense what he's, it looks like he's done some work, and, he looks like he knows what he's doing. I think that we should go ahead and move forward with this thing.
I'm just not crazy about the whole commission. I feel like, Hector, you and I felt like 3.2. I think we discussed that we could go down to 2.9 just in case people were hitting that 3 million max. But the commission, when we had just the 90 acres listed, was 5%. Now, Bob, can you go down to 5% on your first million and then 4% for over the million?
Anne-Marie, I'm glad you brought that up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you an important question. Is it important for you and Hector to get on the road and stop traveling and enjoy the next chapter in your life?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. That's exactly what you want. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So the fee that we charge for me and my company for the last 17 years that I've been in real estate, okay, is simply 3% on the first million. Well, it's actually 3% all around.
Okay.
And then now, because we're in the commercial property and we're getting higher than $1 million, then that's where we're able to be able to, come down a little bit on the commission, which we already have on the second and third million, okay, without sacrificing services to you guys. Now, my suggestion is to you guys, both you, Anne Marie, and you, Hector, is this, that you offer just compensation to all the professional buyers agents out there that have the most amount of buyers, so that we attract them to your property, so we get more showings, more offers, right? So we can settle on a higher offer, on a higher contract, so at the end of the day you actually net more than not less. So my suggestion is just simply going with the standard 6%. Let's go ahead and sign the contract so I can get started right away marketing your property. Sign the contract.
I think, Hector, maybe we should talk about it, and we can give you a call back tomorrow, Bob.
Well, I can appreciate that, Anne Marie. I mean, big decision, okay? And let me ask you, because moving from this property, you've been here almost 20 years. Okay?
Correct.
And this is nature. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah, we think so.
Yeah.
Especially if you like your privacy. So, getting into an RV and traveling the country, wow, that is night and day. Okay.
Yes.
But this is really important to you two, right? Your kids are grown. It's just you two, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So you do absolutely want to travel. Is that correct?
Yes, we are.
Beautiful. I want to help you with that process. And I'm excited about helping you with that process. And so that my notes are complete, I can do a great job for you. Will you mind if I review the things you might want to think over? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So sometimes when people tell me, Bob, we want to kind of sit on this, we want to think it over. The question is that, especially after looking at all this information, they even want to sell their property. You told me you're definitely going on a road trip for the next year.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Correct.
Excellent. So you don't need to think about that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
No, we're pretty much settled on that one. We've agreed on that one.
All right. Well, sometimes we sit on the property. And I know we talked a lot about this, and you kind of wanted $3 million.
Correct.
We agreed on 2.5. Is that correct?
Yeah, we wanted the 3 million, but I think that we can see where you're coming from with the, so we kind of hesitantly would accept that 2.4.
Okay. All right. So if we were to work together, you would be fine with 2.4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Excellent. So, okay, we don't need to think about that, but the third thing we need to think about, Hector, Anne Marie, is sometimes this might happen. You want to think about the agent you're going to choose.
Correct.
You want to think about?
Correct. Well, we understand. We've seen your work. We see your approach. We see where you're coming from. So we think that you got what it takes to sell this property. You come.
Yeah.
We can see that you've done your diligent work, and you see what's happening.
Okay. So let me ask you an honest question, both of you. You guys feel comfortable, confident that I could get it done, that I could sell the property?
Yeah.
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 All right. Awesome. Let's just get started then. So we can get you on the road and to the next chapter of your life. Sign the contract.
Okay, Anne-Marie, let's get over. Let's sign the contract. Let's move on. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. What do you think?
Well, actually, after seeing the property, we did go to if you've seen the property, it's 2.9. We did go to 2.9. He knew a lot about the property, and it was just did not realize, and so I did adjust my price. I was not, because I was dealing with other types of properties, and this one was more flavor than the other properties I did. So we did go to 2.9. The commission we did banter. I think I yapped too much. I think I could have been shorter and clearer.
Mhm.
And I think I could have closed a lot more in the beginning.
Mhm.
I think I got a little wordy.
Yes, you did.
So,
Mhm.
Bob, it just seemed very like a complicated, it's a complicated, I guess, the listing. And so I did get lost, but then I didn't know if maybe the sellers you had were really savvy and they knew what was going on. So I felt like I was getting lost with whatever, but I think you had
Yeah.
a really good rapport with them.
Mhm.
And maybe a little, I think you did go with the motivation, but maybe a little more excitement about the motivation. Where are you going? Where's your first, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think I was correcting myself. I got it in my head instead of doing what you said, Faith. I was like, damn, I haven't asked for a signature in the last 30 minutes.
Mhm.
Yes.
You know, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, great
I'm
point.
gonna give him the feedback, and then Anne-Marie, you go after. When you asked her, when right at the beginning, when I asked you, does my wife Anne-Marie has to be here?
Mhm.
You said the standard, what I like a lot is, it's imperative that she's there because she may have her own questions. You went into
Right.
pretty wordy. Um, then when I ask you, why don't you want to take our listing? You went also pretty wordy as well.
Mhm.
Okay. And then when I ask you, how long is it going to take to sell the land? What I was looking for is to see if you would get out of script, which you did. Instead of like, that's a great question, and I'm going to get to you real fast, real quick. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to sell your land, how long it's going to take to sell your loan, the price that we're going to set on set your land, and what I'm going to do, or your motivation to sell the land, and what I'm going to do to help you sell your land. I think that you were like pretty wordy, and now this is as commercial, and I know that you're dealing with savvy owners, which then I don't know if the automobile, or how do the buyers determine value? It would have been worth your time, but you were pretty off script.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, and that's the challenge, is like, with dealing with savvy buyers or savvy sellers, how do you stay within the script, but at the same time entertain them to make sure that, you're still in control? Got to be careful, because you were pretty wordy in many different instances, maybe because we haven't practiced the listing presentation, or because it was commercial. Keep an eye on that. Okay, Anne-Marie, what do you think?
So I agree with Hector. You definitely went off script. I do feel you were knowledgeable about the comps, about what it was going to take to sell. You did say, well, at the beginning, when you say, do you want to keep it on the market a long period of time? You should have shaken your head. You were too wordy. You did say, I would love to get this listing. And that was more of a me scenario. Like, I would love to get this listing, instead of, I would love to help you sell your home.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah, I
brought up
noticed
the
that
motive.
too.
Oh, good point. Yeah, that's a real good point. I missed that one. Yeah.
You brought up the motivation towards the end. You yourself, Bob, are very amicable. And so it was enjoyable to watch you speak, but I don't feel like the interaction with Hector and I was enough. It needed to be a lot more about our motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also talked about your marketing plan, but you didn't really. I would have liked if you had said, let's bring up the marketing plan. Did you see my marketing plan? These are my objectives. Here's what I'm going to do.
Right.
You just had said, in my marketing plan, I'm going to call 25 people a day. I'm going to call the builders. That's the first thing I'm going to do. And then you alluded to the drone coverage and things like that. But I do think you handled the 2 objections very well. You stayed
Yes.
definitely on script for both of those.
Yes.
So
Yes. The objection handling was very good.
yeah,
That was very, very good. And
yeah,
you stayed on script on that one and you handled it
Mhm.
really well.
yeah.
Okay. So who
Well,
wants to do?
I do want to say one thing,
Yeah.
and I think I told Anne Marie this a little while ago. We talked. I did a Zoom listing presentation because one of the people were out of state, and it was in the heat of the COVID thing. And I don't know if it was Zoom. Well, 2 things here. One, I'm trying to get you guys to do, in my mind, what the actual sellers did. So I think it was, I don't know. I'm trying to relive that scenario the way it should be rather than just focus on the here and now.
Mhm.
Well, I did a Zoom presentation with some sellers.
Mhm.
And again, way off script. Yep. I was all over, you know what I mean? Bad. I told you that, right? Didn't we say that? Didn't I talk to you about that, Anne Marie?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. I mean, I did a Zoom presentation and I just,
Why did you think that happened?
To be honest with you, I might have been distracted. I don't know. Maybe because I didn't practice that enough. So I'm used to being in front of people and following the script and telling them to sign a contract or I'm going to stab them with a smile. But I don't know why. Maybe because I should have gave it more thought going in. I think I should have had that voice in my head. Now stick to the script. Look at them, acknowledge them. I think I should have just reminded myself of the basics.
Did you get the listing?
No. And I still had an opportunity, but because I didn't do a strong follow-up, which I should have done the strong follow-up, things get in the way of that.
Like, what do you think a strong follow-up should have been?
I should have phone called them. And part of my follow-up programs, which is pretty successful, you know how for sale by owners, you got to really hammer them.
Yeah.
Script campaign with emails. If I got their email, I do text campaign. I call them on the phone and I send them a letter and a postcard. And then every week they get a different postcard from me on top of the phone calls. I'm hitting them from if I can Facebook them.
Wow.
I'm hitting them from all angles. So it's like 6 or 7 postcards. At one point you sell that yourself, or is that what
you're thinking? Is that what you think that a good follow-up should have been, or is that what you're doing?
No, it's part of it, but that's not taking the place of me calling up on the phone or
correct.
Knocking on the door. Don't get confused.
Yeah.
Those cards suck. Okay, they suck. I don't use them for any other reason other than I've talked to you on the phone, and you have a motivation to sell. And they're incorporated with all kinds of touches of advertisement. Never ever replaces phone call or if I have the opportunity to do a drive-by. Never replaces that. Nothing replaces talking to people.
Yeah.
But it's just one more thing that I add on.
I agree with you 100%.
That's applesauce and a steak and potato meal,
Yeah.
So Bob, I have a question for you. Hector, were you asking about this particular property or you already got this listing that you were doing today?
No, I got this listing, but when I was prospecting, I came up with another property that had a grove on it, and the guy lives on it, and it's 100 acres, and I'm like, wow. And he was like, he was trying to nail me. I'm not going to pay $40,000 in commission or $100,000. He's just nailing me all kinds. So I was punching him back, and then asking me for my commission, and I wouldn't give it up. It was frustrating.
Yeah. Anyway,
me and him have been contact like 5 or 6 times, so I'm just wearing him down.
Yeah.
So I have a question about your mailers. Do you just sort of already have something ready to send out?
Yeah, I just started it and I've had good response, but I want to reiterate. The cards, they're just a postcard, just a
reminder.
Days ago, when he sent me a postcard, he sent me a text. So when they do crack, I want them to use me and nobody else. And I've been honestly told this 3 times, and with the last couple years, when I asked people why they chose the other agent, they literally told me that they were more persistent. or that, they were, they were more aggressive. They didn't, they were nice and
Yeah.
gave space, that's what they told me. So
Yeah.
it's just one more thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, guys.
Good job, though.
Real good.
All right. Thanks,
I'll see
guys.
you guys next Friday. Who wants to do a listing presentation next Friday? Faith, you want to do one?
Okay.
Okay. Faith, you're on for a listing presentation next week.
After Bob hacked that one, we're all good.
And then Anne-Marie goes next.
Okay.
Okay, guys. See you.
Okay.
See you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
See you. Bye.
Talk
Bye.
to you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.